Hi everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Failing Forward. To our new viewers, this is a safe space where we openly discuss the failures of startups. We talk about how badly things turn out, but more importantly, we talk about how it made us better and helped us succeed. I'm your host, Vera, and today we have the co-founder of a startup you've probably received something from before, Penny Choo from BloomThis. Thanks for joining us today, Penny. It's been a while.
Hi, Vera. Thank you for having me here today.
It's a pleasure having you. So BloomThis was yours and your husband's Gideon baby, and it has blossomed since starting 2015, and not only had a baby but also a real baby, a little girl. And with that, it all comes with developmental milestones. How do you balance having both babies at the same time and also growing or blooming BloomThis from an e-commerce platform to today having physical stores as well?
So indeed, when people ask me, how many children do you have, I would say two. Okay, yeah. One, the firstborn is BloomThis, which it has 100 babies inside. Yeah, 100 staffs, right? So they are like my work child. Yeah, work children. Yeah, and of course, Sierra, my kid. Yeah, my girl. Yeah. So the question is about how I balance. So I think striving a balance is a tricky word, I think, yeah. So I think the approach or my approach would be more on like prioritization. At what time and what do I prioritize and what do I do with my time, right? So I try to be as present as possible whenever, let's say, when I'm with my kid, and I also try to give my best when I'm at work, yeah. So I don't really bring my kid to the office. Yeah, I don't really bring her to work, even though, yeah, I do miss her and all that. But I find that, having the ability to, let's say, compartmentalize the space where you work, right, actually helps you to be more focused and helps you to prioritize what is important in front of you. Yeah. So I think, secondly, in terms of how I balance, it's always about quality and not so much about the quantity of how much time you spend on work or how much time you spend with your kid. And very recently, I learned about the term called mind-heart balance rather than work-life balance. So a lot of times we try to be like we try to achieve like work-life balance, but to be honest, as an entrepreneur, it is quite impossible to have a work-life balance, because if you want balance, that means if you want an equilibrium, something has to give and something you have to sacrifice in order to achieve balance, right? But in a marketplace, as an entrepreneur, we demand performance, right? And we want performance and we want result, right? So balancing too much actually, unfortunately, would not be able to give you a great result, yeah. But what I learned recently about like mind and heart balance is that when you are faced with a certain situation, how much mind effort are you putting into it and how much heart effort are you putting into it? So take, for example, when you try to resolve a conflict at work or at home, right? So are you more of the mind person that you use your mind to function or to solve problems, or are you more of the heart person? I operate with 70-30 most of the time. 70 being the mind, 30 on the heart, because I think we still need to be empathetical when we deal with people and situations.
Was there a hard situation where certain things you had to prioritize and certain things you had to sacrifice?
Yeah, definitely. I think because like you mentioned earlier on, I work with my spouse, Gideon, right? So I think date nights for a couple of years, that you really have to sacrifice. Even up to today, we do sacrifice a lot of
in the office, maybe.
Date nights. Oh, that's not romantic. Yeah, most of the people like say that office romance and all that, right? But no, we're performance based, right? Okay, and result driven, right? So I think yes, in terms of like personal relationship part, you do have to have some form of sacrifice, right? And actually, during my entrepreneurship journey, I lost some friends, and I do gain quite a lot as well. Yeah. So those friends that I've lost are those what I realized that they are the fun friends, right? That once you have no time to hang out with them, when you have no time to do fun stuff with them, they say that, oh, you're not cool. No, I'm not going to ask you out anymore because, you're just not fun to be with. You're all about business and work and stuff like that, right? But on the other hand, I do gain a lot of support and other circles in the startups, that they are like-minded. They know what you're going through. They understand your challenges and they are just there for you. Yeah, genuinely. Yeah. So these are the things that I think you lose some, you gain some.
Yeah, it's always a sacrifice on one side. So way before you became an entrepreneur, was there anything of your earliest memory that something didn't go to plan?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's quite a bit of it. I think one of it is the choice of my studies. Yeah. So actually, I wanted to enroll into mass communication. Yeah. For my tertiary education, but I ended up studying and majoring in food science and nutrition. Yeah. Just because I got a scholarship from the university to study the course. And that time, I choose to take the scholarship because that would, saves a lot of money, and my parents would be very happy, if I take science stuff, right? Yeah, so I think I can quote that as one of the unexpected or didn't go according to plan.
And for now, what would you say is BloomThis' unique selling point compared to any other florists out there?
Yeah, so we've always pride ourselves in the ability to perform like same-day deliveries, can rely on us in terms of the consistent quality that we offer. Yeah.
And because you're selling flowers and also cakes, it has to be fresh and it has to be like
fast
within it. Yeah, delivered very fast. Has this USP kind of backfired BloomThis at any point of time?
Not really, to be honest. Yeah. So how we basically handle the situation is that we actually built a proprietary system to basically help us in terms of the procurement of the raw material to production up to logistics. So whenever we received an order, all these 3 different departments will get the information at the same time and they actually process the information at the same time. Yeah. So it is actually humanly impossible to do routings to the delivery location manually, at this scale. Yeah. So that's why intervention of technology and is very crucial to us.
So being an entrepreneur is very hard because people make mistakes. But from those mistakes, you learn even more. Maybe share with us some of your biggest mistakes as an entrepreneur and how do you overcome those mistakes?
Okay, I think I made quite a bit of mistakes throughout this journey. Yeah, so I think one very apparent mistakes or shortcoming that I used to have in the past is the inability to confront people. Yeah, I've always tried to be like the nice person,
I think it's also a Asian culture, right? To not be confrontational.
Exactly. I've never been confrontational. I've always very accommodative, compliant to a certain point, when before I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah. But I mean, to lead a team and deal with people from all walks of life, from different background, culture, it takes quite a bit of your energy, right, and your mental space to deal with it, right. I think the ability to basically call a spade and to be upfront and to be honest, okay, about the person's performance and behavior is very important. And sometimes I think as a leader, we owe it to them, right? We owe them the honesty that, hey, whether the performance is good or no good. I think if it's a non-performer or bad behavior, we have to really bring it up. It's a hard thing to do, right? Because no one likes to go to another person and say that, hey, you're not good, you're not doing well, or you're not up to expectation, right? You're not delivering the result that the company expect from you, right? So no one likes to be that difficult person because it's a difficult conversation to have with another person, because you got to deal with the whole emotion of the other person when you say this kind of honest truth and all that, right? So, but I learned that it is very important to be very honest with the individual. And if there is a misalignment and all that, it's always good to address it as soon as possible. Yeah, because otherwise that non-performer will actually bring a lot of disruption to the organization.
So Penny, you mentioned confronting people, being empathetic. That's one of the biggest challenges that you've had before. Was there a time where when you confronted someone and the response that you get from that person was unexpected?
Oh, well, definitely, because not everyone can take criticism and feedback, right? Not everyone is good in handling that. Yeah. Yes, I definitely have that kind of incident before where the person just walked out of the room, right, and called it quits and things like that. But as I reflect in terms of the way how we deliver things and all that, right, I thought that it was delivered as democratic as possible, as democratic as it can be, right? So it's really up to the recipient how he or she wants to respond. I also learned that that I can't control how other people want to respond and how other people want to react, but I can control perception on how other people want to perceive, or the team how they perceive this situation. And I can't control the outcome, but I can try my best to mitigate or cushion things. Yeah.
And in terms of the business itself, how did you and Gideon kind of look at who is supposed to focus on what? How did you come to the last decision as well?
So when we first started, everything was not very organized, right? So we tried to do all the things by ourselves because it started just by both of us, right? There's no team. Everything is you, even from the floor sweeper to the toilet cleaner, everything is you. But as we mature in the business and as an individual, we learned that having a lead, in a certain area is very important. Yeah. So today, our accountability, I would say, are very distinct, right? Gideon is in charge of anything finance, anything technology, anything that's digital, and anything that deals with, let's say, external relations, with investors and whatnot. And myself, I am accountable for the business development, the innovation part, product, HR, yeah, as well as in terms of branding and marketing.
Was there a time where it overlaps, and how do you prioritize who makes the decision for which subject?
So once we have established that these are the areas that we are accountable for, so that person become the person who is responsible, for the decisions that is made within the team, right? So of course we can always give each other our feedback, our suggestions. We don't always agree with each other. Yeah. But the thing is that when it comes to decision making, it depends on which area it is. Let's just say, for example, when it comes to, let's say, product innovation, right? So in an event that we have different opinion, but I will be the one who have the last say, because that is the area that I'm accountable for. I can take other people's opinion and all that, but I have to be accountable for the result. Likewise, for example, if the area is if a topic is on finance, let's just say, right? So even though I have a different opinion in terms of, let's say, budgetings and whatnot, but if, let's say, finance is the other person's key area, right, or the subject matter expert, right, so the final decision will have to go back to the other person. So whether or not the decision made is right or wrong, sometimes it does not really matter that much. It matters less as much as we think that it should be, because it is important to have the team and the organization and the people, right, walk in the same direction rather than people walking to the path that they think that it is right. Because if everyone starts to think that, hey, my way is the highway or my way is the right way, right, then there will be no unison, there will be no unity, and we would not be able to get to our destination or hit our goals, because everyone is just going everywhere in accordance to their preferences, right? But it shouldn't be that way. It should be based on teamwork, and we should trust the leader, whoever the leader that we have empowered to take on the project, and go ahead with it. So if the decision is bad, or if the result is bad and all that, right? We just take it upon. We just have to own it up and say that, hey, we made a wrong decision, and these are the corrective actions that we need to take. Yeah. So whether it's a right or wrong, it has to be in unison, and we have to go in the same direction. In an event that some people might think that, hey, I don't really think that this will work and all that. I think the best way is just to alight the train, right? Because if the train is going to north, and if you want to go to the east, I think it's fair for the person who does not agree with the direction to alight the train and pursue different things.
Okay, so you mentioned making wrong decisions, right? When you first started your company, what was one of the wrong decisions that you've made?
Back in 2016, I would say there was an incident that I wouldn't say ate us until now, but we definitely learned a lot from it, is our readiness to scale. I mean, when we first started, we go on with a subscription model where we actually gather our orders on a weekly basis, and we deliver our flowers once a week. But after that, we received quite a number of requests to deliver flowers on demand. And that's where, we switch our mode from subscription to on demand. So working on demand is very different. People are generally quite impatient, and they want their goods like right here and right now, right? So there's one season during Mother's Day. We were never prepared for that volume. We were never prepared for that kind of orders and the operations that we will be involved in. So it was quite a disaster. So we missed like 60 orders. Yeah, I remember I was like trembling that time because social media, all the keyboard warriors were there, the social media bashing and all that, right? So we had to, frantically apologize to the customers. We had to, do refunds or any other form of compensation and all that. Yeah, that's because we weren't ready for scale. So we don't have the manpower ready. We don't have the logistic arrangement ready. We also don't have customer service ready to handle the amount or the volume that we received that time. So that was actually a very pivotal moment for us to decide and determine that we need technology. We need technology to help us with all these demands that's coming to us. Yeah. From that incident, we actually built our first framework in terms of our proprietary technology, or we call it like our own ERP system, to basically handle the operational part of the business. Even though we had the hiccup over there, but that's also where I actually witnessed who are the true people who will stand by you, right? Be it your customers, your family, your friends, they actually came and help out. My friends were like, oh, what happened to you? I saw something happen on social media and all that. Do you need help? I said, yeah, I do need help. Yeah, please come over. Then they came, they helped to trim the flowers. They helped to do the logistics. They helped to deliver the flowers and whatnot. I think that was the incident. That incident that helped us to also build the trust and also the community. Yeah. Because when you make mistake, right, it's not the end of the world, right? You can always use that mistake to learn and to provide something. Because of the actions that we took, we compensated people for the mishap and all that, and that actually made people trust us more and say that, yeah, it's understandable. It's a peak season. Traffic is bad and whatnot. So yeah, they become very empathetical, and they trust us even more. And from that, we actually gain more customers than before.
So you came from subscription model to an on-demand, and today you're also having physical stores.
Yeah.
Did your vision change from the very start of when you started your business to today?
No, this is exactly how we imagine it to be. Yeah. So we started as e-commerce, but at the back of our mind, we know that we want to be a multi-channel business, right? But we have to be focused. We can't do everything at the same time, especially when you are a startup, right? You got to focus your resources into building one thing right. Yeah. So 8 years in the business, we think that we have got it in terms of the e-commerce and technology part of the business. And now we're ready to go to the next phase, okay, which is giving people the retail and the physical experience with our brand and our services.
You mentioned also that you are part of product innovation, so you look at product innovation as well. Was there a time where you came out with a product but it didn't sell?
Oh dear, yes. Yes, of course they are, yeah. That time I brought in a design that I thought it could work, but it did not for whatever reason. Yeah, apparently it is not attractive enough. Yeah, we sort of like wasted the inventory, right? And there is some money, that being stuck over there, right? It's always about like, how do you turn this sort of like fiasco into something that is usable, right? So what we did is that, we give the thing away, because that product is also branded with BloomThis brand. So we give that away, we use it to do some like giveaways, or we do it for workshops, or we use it for charity and whatnot. Yeah. So I always believe that, it's there's always a way, to not to cover up, but to mitigate, the losses that or the mistakes that you have made. But what's more important is that it teaches me and us to really look into data before making decision. So a lot of times, we make decision based on
How we feel.
Yeah. How we like it, right? Yeah. How do I feel about it, right? But as much as, the gut feeling is very important during decision making, but data is also very important, right? So market research and surveys and forecasting, all these are very important skills to have, before making a decision, especially when the decision involves finance, right? Because, finance for a startup is important, but I'm not sure about for other company. But for BloomThis, we always want to be, be high growth, but at the same time, we look into profit as well. Yeah, so that's why the finance management is very crucial for a goal like this. Yeah, growth and profit.
And you mentioned just now about how the product itself, you always have to look at data. You cannot look at how you feel about it or how you think about the product. And I think this is what people call in Malaysia shock sendiri.
Oh yeah.
So if you shock sendiri with the product itself, I don't think the product will sell. You will have to actually look at your data, talk to more people, talk to your customers. After going from 0 to 100 customers, you look at scaling your business itself. So as you scale your business, what was your biggest blunder when you were scaling the business?
Scaling the business, yeah. So for us, we look at, there are 3 parts that we look at, okay? We call it the 3 Ps, okay? People, process, and platform. And either one of this can be a blunder. Oh, we have a fourth P, which is place. Yeah. So when we scale, I think the first blunder was in terms of like the space that we have. Whether can we accommodate, the workforce that we have? Whether can we accommodate the machineries that we brought in? The facilities that we need, for a scale-up business, right? From startup to scale-up. So place is definitely one of a blunder. Okay, so we solve it by, moving into a bigger space. I think you've been there as well. Yeah. So a people part, you need different skill sets. You need to have people, there's of the different skill sets, because what used to work or the skill sets that is possessed by a certain team or the individual may not work at a scale up level. Maybe they are very good as a startup, but at scale up, you sort of need to put some processes in place already. So that's where the second P comes in, right? We need to put processes, we need to put the SOPs, right? So that people can work seamlessly. Otherwise, they'll have a lot of gaps, right? When you start to grow your team, when you start to grow your people, that's where the communication gap usually happen, right? So the process is very important. And the third one, the third blunder is in terms of the platform, or some company calls it tools, right? So what kind of platform do you want to adopt to use to bridge the process and the people, right? So I think these are the blunders when you start to grow, and these are the areas that we need to look into, as we bring the company to a next level.
So communication, that's one of the biggest challenge I think most companies have. How do you solve that in BloomThis?
Oh yeah, we over communicate. Sometimes we sound like, the leaders sound like a broken record, right? And just repeat and repeat week on week and all that. Yeah, but apart from the over communication, well, the thing is that how do you over communicate, right? That's another.
How do you make people over communicate?
Yes. So we have huddles, right? We do huddles, we do stand-ups, we do like weekly check-ins with the leaders, and we encourage the leaders to also do scrums with their respective team member, right? Just so that we are in sync. Yeah. So that's on the meetings or the communication part. We also leverage on tools as well, to make the conversation quicker and faster. So we use Google Chat for internal communication. Yeah. So we also use like task management tools and also knowledge-based tools, to deposit our knowledge, files or documents. Basically, it's like a directory that people can easily go on and search for the things that they want. I think that part really helps us in mitigating the risk of miscommunication.
So this year itself, for Valentine's Day, I think BloomThis released an NFT collection. How was that received by your customer base? Because it's such a new thing.
Yes.
Yeah, how did they feel about it?
They are very surprised, to be honest. Yeah, they were like, oh, this is the first ever, company or flower company in Malaysia, or if not Southeast Asia, I think, to be so forward thinking. Yeah. So I think that that part gives us comfort, because we always want to position ourselves as the leader in the industry, and we want to always, break our own boundaries and our own limitation to do this. Because doing this project, it was really tough, right? Because it is something that we have never done before. We are literally pushing our team to break their own limits, to come up with this collection. And the designs are beautiful. I would say I personally love it very much, and our customers are very impressed actually.
Throughout your entrepreneurial journey itself, was there a moment where there's something that you were totally not prepared for?
Totally not prepared for.
Something that still haunts you until today?
Oh, haunts me. Yeah, would be in terms of team management. Yeah. So I think I made a wrong decision in keeping someone who is good at work but bad in attitude. It was a hard decision to make, because that person can perform, can deliver result, right? What you want, the person can deliver, and the person, let's say, is smart, right? And yeah, he can do the work. But the person did not have the right company values, right? So our company values are, customer first, okay, teamwork, embrace change, and also passion, right? So while the person did not really display this kind of value, the person did not display the spirit of embracing change. Like whenever you roll up something, the person will say, no, it cannot be done. And that actually affects the motivation of other team members, right? And respect is a very big thing for us, right? Because we work in a multicultural setting, right? We have people from all walks of life. We have people from all ages as well, right? From fresh graduates to, let's say, people who are in their 50s, right? Because we do have a pool of gig workers who work with us. That's why being respectful is very important. Yeah. So keeping this person eventually disrupted a lot of harmony in the team, because the person is not aligned to the value. Yeah. So it took quite a difficult way, I would say, to get rid of the person. Yeah. Because it is first of all, it has to be evidence based, right? You have to gather the evidence about this person's misbehavior or misconduct before you can send the person out your door, right? So I think that's something that I wouldn't say it haunts me, but it teaches me a very great lesson that performance alone is not enough, right? The person has to be aligned with your company values. Right. So that's why in our performance evaluation right now, we have two areas. You know, we evaluate on your performance, and we also evaluate on your behavior as well. Yeah, so it has to be balanced in some sort, right? So you can't just be a high performer but no values. Neither can you be a really good person but you cannot perform all the time, right? So yeah, so we want to have both.
So Penny, there's not many female startup founders in Malaysia or even in Asia itself, let alone in tech itself. How do you navigate through this male-dominated space, and what are some of the issues that you ran into as a female founder?
In terms of issue-wise, I personally I don't encounter anything that really requires like attention. Yeah. So I think I've been quite fortunate, you know, to navigate in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Yeah. And I think that is possible because of the support system or the female network that we have over here, right? So I do have a group of female founders that I hang out with, and we share experiences, we exchange notes, and I also have another group that are mummies, right? We call it the mompreneur group. That, you know, we talk about other things that involves motherhood and running a business at the same time and all that. So I think the support system is there, right? It's a matter of, like, you know, whether if you want to open up yourself to those networks and get help. Yeah, don't afraid to ask for help when you need it.
But to the female founders out there who are lonely and who don't have anyone to speak to, where can they find this group of people?
Yeah, so I think first of all, if you have like the mentors and all that, right? So you can get help from your mentor to basically suggest some of the platforms that you can join. I believe there's quite a number. It's not that difficult to find because these days, you know, it is just Google away, right? You just put like female founder group and all that. So then you can I think have a list of organization and all that you can be part of. Yeah. And sometimes maybe if you don't have to be an organization, but you can reach out to an individual to talk about it, right? So sometimes I do receive, you know, from my DMs and whatnot, you know, that they say that, hi, they introduce themselves and they say that they have this particular problem and whatnot. And I would respond. Yeah. And if it's something to do with their business, or if there's anything that I can help or to share, yeah, not so much of help, right? But to share my experience and all that. Because most of the time for female, we don't need people to tell us what to do. We don't need people to give us a solution, right? But we just need someone to listen to us, understand us and all that. And somehow we're able to find our answers. Yeah. Right? After you talk, and
you just need somebody to listen.
Yes, after you talk out, after you pour it out, and somehow your mind becomes straight again, and you say that, I know exactly what to do next. Yeah. So I think, just be courageous, you know, to reach out to a female that you looked up to and that you trust that you can share your problems or your challenges with.
Sometimes we as human beings, we get triggered by certain comments or certain things like, okay, your pitch is not good enough or your product is not good enough. How do you overcome this negative feedback?
Oh, I think those are wonderful feedback, right? If someone comes and tells me that your pitch is not good enough and all that, I'm like, hey, there's an opportunity for me to learn and be better over here. And I think it's also very important to look at the motive of the person who gives this comment, whether the person is coming from the angle of wanting you to improve, right? Or the person is coming from the angle of trying to bring you down. So you got to be able to discern, you know, what motive is this comment coming from, right? Yeah. So I think if it's a bad motive and it's malicious and all that, you can just ignore it because that don't really matter, right? But if the person say this kind of thing because he or she wants you to improve and to be better, I think that's a money put in your pocket. You should take it and you should polish whatever that you are not good and be better next time.
So looking back and going down memory lane, the Penny before and the Penny today, how have you changed?
I think I've changed from being a more objective person, right? I used to be non-confrontational. I used to be more soft-hearted. Yeah. But these days, I'm more objective. Yeah, I try to look at the matter as the matter itself, and not so much of not putting so much of an emotion into it. Yeah, but don't get me wrong, emotion is good. Right, all of us have emotion. Emotion is being empathetic and have emotion is good. But we have to also be very objective when we are dealing with matters. Yeah.
I think that's all for our podcast today. Thank you so much, Penny, for sharing. I think if it's something that I've learned is to prioritize. How do you prioritize your whatever comes to you? Push away the negative feedbacks. Be objective in terms of making decisions. Be as strong as Penny. I think she's a wonderful founder, and we're grateful for having you here today, Penny. So how can most of our listeners reach out to you?
Okay. Well, you can follow me on my Instagram. Yeah, it's pennychoo.co, or you can send me a LinkedIn, or you can, reach out to BloomThis.
Yeah, so for any founders out there, if you have any challenges or, I don't know, business challenges, marriage challenges as well, balancing between your kids and also the business itself, feel free to reach out to Penny. Remember, guys, when we crave success, we don't fear failure. For more on the Malaysian startup ecosystem, make sure to subscribe.